hello Creator Fest 2026 with a very, very exciting interview today.
My name is Emily English, also known as Em the Nutritionist, and I am a cookbook author and founder of Jeppesen.
Lovely to meet you.
I'm Sasha Jeppesen. I'm Head of Influencers and Creative at Charlie Oscar, a creator agency.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today, guys. A couple of questions for you. So firstly, Sasha, can you talk us through why the influencer Kool-Aid isn't hitting like it used to from an agency perspective, and what made you realise this?
Yes, so I think for the creator industry as a whole, I think we've been trying to fight for our seat at the table for like over a decade in terms of being more credible, proving ROI. And I think what that has led to is like we lost a lot of our creativity along the way. So I think everything just started to feel the same. We were kind of churning out the same campaigns. So I think that was kind of our big realization that we needed to strip back and go back to what we knew.
Fantastic. And Emily, from a creative perspective, do you ever feel trapped by the algorithm and cautious to make something a little different outside of your regular recipe content?
It's difficult because I think viral trends don't actually serve you, they serve the trend. So you have to stick to your strategy, you have to stick to the core reason of why you're creating and why people come to you. I'm very lucky that I do feel like I've nailed my strategy from quite early on. So in my case, it's just rinse and repeat. The food you want to eat, designed by a nutritionist.
So Sasha, at Charlie Oscar, where do you think the return to basics needs to start? What's the first thing creators should do to escape that echo chamber and reconfigure?
Yes, of course. So I think the three key sort of basic best practices all brands need to go back to and align on is obviously strategy. So aligning with what are you actually trying to achieve? Is it, conversion, or is it actually just awareness? Because they're very two different things. I then also think measurement, so getting measurement right. So not just focusing on vanity metrics. You need to be looking at things such as MMM, modeling to actually get down to a revenue number for influencer marketing. And then lastly, redistribution. So how can you sweat that content beyond just organic social?
And Emily, how do you approach working with brands that don't have such a strict brief in place? Do you feel like it gives you more flexibility, or do you find it harder when you're kind of open to anything?
Well, I think sometimes it can be easier because most of the brands that I work with are organically fitting anyway. So they are brands that I often use, I would incorporate naturally into my content. And I think that's really where the gold lies. When I work with brands like Le Creuset, Marks and Spencer's, these are just naturally fitting brands. So I have a lot of creative freedom. If there is something that's a little bit more unique and we're doing a bit more of an interesting brand partnership, sometimes a good brief is key because I still want to be able to reflect the brand in the way that the brand wants me to. So I think it's a balance and it's a synergy, whether it's really organic or if it's a bit more out of the box.
So on the agency side of things, how does that look for you, Sasha? And what advice would you give to brands that are too afraid maybe to challenge the norm of the influencer in 2026?
No, of course. So I think obviously going back to those best practices, I think once you have those best practices in place, you can then actually have so much more room and freedom for creativity and to go beyond just the norm and like find your nerve. Because I think once you have those foundations in place, especially when it comes to measurement and understanding what influencers is doing for your bottom line, you can then actually fight for more investment, fight for more budget, speak the sort of boardroom language. And then once you have that buy-in and also sort of guardrails of what works, what doesn't work, don't let that limit your creativity. Actually let it sort of push it further and get out of the brief and post cycle. When you get a brief on your desk, ask yourself, pause, be like, how can we actually do this differently? Because I think we're kind of just churning and trying to keep up when really we just need to take a step back and return to, again, I think the creativity that the industry was built upon.
Fantastic. Brilliant advice from Charlie Oscar there. So Emily, what's one tip to creators you would give to make them stand out in this kind of oversaturated market we're in 2026?
I always think the best content makes people feel something. So whether it makes them feel inspired, whether it makes them laugh, whether it makes them feel hungry, tap into human emotion. And when you create with human emotion in mind and actual kind of wants and desires, I think you're going to have much more successful content.
Fantastic. I'm definitely hungry when I'm on your TikTok.
Thank you.
And I guess it's for both of you then. What do you both think will dominate the conversation in influencer and creator marketing a year from now?
I think IP, influencer IP. So I think something that's really inspiring about Emily is that she's building an empire beyond just organic social, and I think more creators need to start looking that way. But also from a brand point of view, how can you actually tap into different IP properties beyond just social, or help creators build their own IP? I think that's going to be the biggest conversation over the next 6 to 12 months, because I think, again, influencers, we've finally like earned our seat at the table. We don't need to prove ourselves anymore. So how can we actually start to grow and push forward beyond just sort of the digital realm? I think that's going to be where most of the exciting things are going to happen.
Amazing. Emily, would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally. And I would also suggest that just less produced, softer, more comfort content is where the trajectory is heading.
And do you think then, finally, do you think we'll still be facing the same problem that we've talked about today in 2027?
I hope not. I don't think so, because I think everyone is on this journey. I think our report that we've just released is just sort of, I think we didn't want to just release another report full of data, like boring. Everyone's just talking about the same thing, researching the same things. Let's actually have more of an opinion piece about, hey guys, we need to go touch some grass for a minute. We need to ground ourselves back in reality and go, you know what, this industry was built on creativity. It's not just about, growth optimizations, growth hacks. We need to actually get back to pushing this industry forward because it's such an exciting industry. Again, going back to the IP piece, the entertainment piece, Hollywood is buying up different creator IPs. Let's actually focus on that as opposed to, again, trying to continuously fight for our seat at the table because we've got our seat already. Let's just keep going. So I hope we're not talking about it still in terms of the same sort of optimization and growth hacks like we have been over the past kind of, 2 years.
Creators will still continue to battle against the algorithm as things change, as things adapt, as the way that we consume content, that will always continue to change. So I think the difficulty that creators will have and will continue to have is learning how to adapt, but still stay true to themselves.